Julia Martinez had been warned about the Galactic Academy's infamous physical conditioning course. Every species in the Intergalactic Education Consortium dreaded it. The Xanthari, with their 6 limbs, struggled. The floating Aetheri often failed outright. Even the naturally athletic Kryn barely passed with acceptable scores. It's designed to be universally challenging, her roommate Zilthra had explained, her translucent tentacles quivering with remembered trauma. No one gets an A, it's statistically impossible. Julia exchanged a glance with Oscar Chen, the only other human in their cohort. They'd arrived on the station 3 weeks ago, part of Earth's first exchange program since humanity had been contacted. So far, everything had been surprisingly easy. The gravity on the station was lighter than Earth's. The endurance tests felt like warm-ups. Even the complex combat simulations seemed straightforward once you understood the physics involved. How hard could a gym class be? Oscar whispered as they entered the massive arena. Very hard. Apparently for everyone else. Instructor. A towering Thorian with crystalline skin that refracted light into rainbow patterns stood at the center of the arena. His 4 eyes scanned the assembled students with what Julia had learned to recognize as their species' version of stern disappointment. "Welcome to Advanced Physical Conditioning," Calvex announced, his voice resonating through translation. "Implant. This semester's curriculum has a 37% failure rate across all species. I expect most of you to barely survive." A collective groan rippled through the class. Julia noticed several students already looking defeated. "We begin with the Gauntlet of Ascension," Calvex continued, gesturing to an elaborate obstacle course that stretched vertically through the arena, climbing walls with variable gravity fields, spinning platforms, narrow beams suspended over foam pits, and what appeared to be a section filled with some kind of repelling force field. You have 15 standard minutes. Completion is rare. Excellence is unheard of. Begin. The Xanthari students scrambled forward first, their multiple limbs gripping holds that seemed impossibly far apart. One by one, they struggled, slipped, and fell into the safety nets below. The Kryn, despite their athletic builds, couldn't generate enough force against the variable gravity sections. The Aetheri simply floated away when the repelling fields activated. Julia approached the wall with Oscar at her side. She'd been a rock climber back home in Colorado, and Oscar had trained in parkour since he was 12. "Race you to the top." Oscar grinned. "You're on." What happened next would become legendary in Galactic Academy history. Julia's fingers found holds that other species couldn't reach or didn't have the grip strength to utilize. Her legs, conditioned by Earth's gravity, powered her up sections that had stalled every previous student. When she hit the variable gravity zone, instead of struggling, she adjusted instinctively. After all, the low gravity section was still heavier than the station's normal environment. Oscar flowed across the spinning platforms like water, his parkour training making the timing challenges trivial. Where others saw impossible gaps, he saw simple jumps he'd made 1,000 times in urban environments. The repelling force field that had stymied everyone else. He used momentum and precise angles to ricochet through it like a pinball. They reached the top simultaneously, barely breathing hard. 13 minutes and 42 seconds, a new record by over 6 minutes. The arena had gone completely silent. Every ice talk, optical sensor and visual organ was fixed on the 2 humans casually high-fiving at the summit. "Impossible," Calvex breathed, checking his datapad 3 times. "No one has ever." The calculations suggest. He looked up at them with something that might have been awed. "Come down safely." They descended in 2 minutes. The rest of the class passed in similar fashion. The impossible endurance run that required maintaining speed over varied terrain for 20 minutes. Julia and Oscar treated it as a light jog, actually conversing while they ran. The strength assessment that required lifting increasingly heavy weights. Earth's gravity had prepared them well. The agility course designed to challenge every known form of movement. They improvised techniques that the database didn't even have classifications for. By the end of the session, they'd broken 7 course records, achieved scores that the automated system flagged as error, please recalibrate equipment, and accidentally made several students cry with frustration. "Explain this," Calvex demanded, though his tone was more curious than angry now. "Your species is new to the consortium. Your planet is a Class 7 world, unremarkable by all accounts. How is this possible?" Julia and Oscar looked at each other. Class 7, they'd seen the classification chart. Earth was actually listed as UH instructor. Oscar pulled up his "There might be an error in the database. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death, not Class 7. High gravity, extreme climate variation, aggressive megafauna, prevalent diseases." Toxic plant life, that's impossible, Calvex interrupted. No species from a Class 12 world could develop advanced civilization. The evolutionary pressure would create organisms too specialized for survival to develop complex cooperation or technology. Well, Julia said carefully, we're very good at cooperation, usually when we're not fighting each other, which admittedly, we did for most of our history. But that kind of teaches you to be really physically capable. The realization spread across Calvex's features. You're not just adapted to a harsh world. You're apex persistence predators from a planet that actively tries to kill you. And you've been training in what you consider a light environment for weeks. Is that bad? Oscar asked. Calvex made a sound like grinding crystals. Thorian laughter. Julia had learned. Bad? No. Unprecedented. Yes. Congratulations, humans. You've both achieved perfect scores, on a course designed to be impossible. As they left the arena, Julia heard Zilthra whisper to another student, I told you Deathworlders were terrifying. Julia smiled. Maybe humanity's reputation in the galaxy was off to an interesting start. And gym class? Well, that was going to be the easy A. They never expected.